Hello and welcome back to a brand new video of Fox Fix on the Food Theaters. Today we're going to see the best way to win a food fight according to MatPat's research. Let's chow down.
Alright everyone, listen up. Tom, your job is gonna be tossing cookies like they're ninja stars.
You mean my biscuits?
Oh, stop
So
being a British
British.
stereotype, man. It's not working for you. Amy, you're gonna be on tomato soup duty.
I will burn them all.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like I should be
Um.
concerned about that response, but I'm just gonna pretend like I didn't hear it for plausible deniability. Santi, you sharpen those carrots to a deadly point.
You got it.
And Lee, whatever you're
Wait,
throwing,
what?
just make sure you have better aim than a stormtrooper.
You do realize that stormtroopers have excellent aim, and that the stereotype of them missing was an intentional misdirect, right? As discussed
I
in,
know,
like,
Lee. I
God,
know. It was a
please.
joke. It was a
Introduction
joke.
slash the
He's still
film
talking, isn't he?
I'm just saying, Matt, you should learn the lore.
Okay, great. Everyone ready? Food fight!
Mr. Patrick!
Guys, a little help here? Guys?
Immediately gone.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Food Theory, where our motto is always make lunch, not war. Actually, in this episode, we're going to be doing a little bit of both as we finally dive into one of the quintessential aspects of school culture, the food fight.
Oh, that was a classic scene.
It's a pretty simple concept. Food gets thrown, someone screams, food fight, and chaos ensues. And I'm not just talking
Oh,
about your
boy.
run-of-the-mill tossing a peas at your friend or your drive-by pie in the face. I am talking full-scale pandemonium. Food and drink flying around, stained clothing, pudding stuck in your hair, all while the CEO of Tide counts their money in the corner. Food fights are one of the
Yes,
things that pop
yes,
culture has convinced me
yes.
happens in literally every American school. And yet, I've never seen one. I've never been around one. I don't know anyone who's ever experienced
I've only ever been in one food fight, and it may have come from an accident. Like, all I remember is I threw a packet of ketchup, like, behind me. Next thing I know, food is flying above me. And I just crawled my way out of there, because I was not going to be in that war zone.
one. So clearly, either the movies have been lying to me, or my moment is still coming. And I think the answer there is pretty obvious. My moment is coming. Which means that when it happens, and it will happen, I don't want to waste my chance. I need to come in prepared.
Cock the
So do
bridge.
you. Which is why today's episode exists. When you get into your inevitable food fight, what is the best strategy to win? Oh, I'm sorry. You weren't aware that there were winners and losers in a random melee of people launching food at each other? Didn't you see the second word of the phrase?
Oh,
It
yeah.
is
Fight.
called a food
Duh.
fight. And with any fight, there are always going to be those who come out on top and those who are at the bottom. And we
Makes
theorists,
sense.
we are nothing if not winners here. So break out your plastic trays, thermoses, and Lunchables, friendos. It's time to dive into MatPat's Food Fight Strategy Guide. When the inevitable food apocalypse
Alright.
arises, what do you hope you packed in your superhero lunchbox to win the #1 victory royale?
Something
First, we
with a
should
lot of
probably set our
splatter.
criteria for what exactly winning the food fight means, because really, we could be talking about three very different styles of fight here. One is the traditional food fight, covering your enemies with the most possible food and staining their clothing so they continue to feel the sting of defeat later on laundry day. Option 2, literally trying to use normal food to knock out your opponent, hurling
Oh,
honey
damn.
crisps at heads until they all lie unconscious at your feet. He who is still alive and breathing at the end wins the day. And of course, there's always option number 3, where you refine your food stuff into the ultimate killing machine, a scythe of celery, a beet bludgeon, a granola gun. This, my friends, is where your
Granola
food is
gun?
actually transformed into a weapon to fight with. Really brings new meaning to the phrase lamb shank. Anyway, since the last two options would likely land you with some sort of a criminal
Wow.
charge, we're gonna be sticking with our first route, getting your opponents as messy and stained as possible. And in true food fight fashion,
Yeah,
our
that would
arena
be
shall
good.
be a typical American school cafeteria, blaring fluorescent lights and all. According to the North American food equipment manufacturers, a cafeteria fit for 100 people would get us in the ballpark of 1,600 square feet, or a 40-foot
Ooh.
by 40-foot room. So, with our conditions all set, let's strategize, starting with our attack position. The first food's been flung, the powder keg's about to erupt. So where are we dropping, boys? Now, you might initially be thinking, MatPat, I'm not trying to win a food fight, I'm just trying to get out of there without ruining my new Jordans. And I feel ya. I wouldn't want to stain my recently restocked MatPat signature jacket turquoise edition available on
Is that an ad?
theorywear.com
Nope.
while supplies last either. As such, your first instinct would probably be to dive under the
Ow.
lunch table. And that makes intuitive sense. It provides cover from debris and gets you out of the line of sight. However, well sure, you might be safe from some food that falls from the air, it also makes you a sitting duck. Those lunch
Literally.
tables are a nightmare to climb out from under, especially if you're talking about the fold-up ones with built-in benches. As such,
Oh,
if someone
yep.
notices you hiding, you have nowhere left to go before you get ketchuped. If you're trying to get yourself out of the line of fryer, your saving grace on your lunch tray is, well, gonna be the lunch tray itself. It's perfect for blocking stray applesauce, funnel cakes, and all those watery fruit cups.
Yeah,
If you wanna
he's
get
right.
out of the food fight before
It's
it
a
even
shield.
begins, you need to empty your tray as fast as possible and quickly back up to the nearest wall. This will help protect your blind spot. That way you can start defending yourself from all the tater tots and subpar pizza that's whizzing past your face. Plus, as we're about to discuss, most food is not aerodynamic or stable enough to make it all the way across a typical cafeteria. As such, you being at the edge of the room is gonna result in most attacks landing long before they ever get close to your kicks. I mean, have you ever
Ooh.
even tried to throw a slice of bologna? I feel embarrassed for it, flopping around in the breeze. That thing is barely making it a few inches, let alone dozens of feet, leaving your feet nice and clean. That said, this is your once-in-a-lifetime food fight moment here. If you're not taking full advantage of the opportunity to fling some foodstuffs in the hopes of staying completely clean, you might technically win the battle, but you're losing in spirit. Which means
Yeah.
that the best defense here is going to be
Yeah.
a strong offense. And knowing that our victory conditions mandate food sticking on our opponent, staining their clothing, and not knocking them unconscious, anything that could bounce right off or cause serious bodily injury is automatically ruled out. Remember, we're trying to cause a food mess, not a legal one. So hurling
Yeah.
apples, water bottles, silverware, all of that's a no-go. Other relatively useless foods here include cold cuts,
Not unless you just take off the lid and just all splashing the water about. That could do it.
chips,
You mean crisps?
I don't, breads,
Shut
most
up.
proteins like hot dogs and hamburgers, as well as french fries.
Chips.
I already said chips, Tom. Try to stick with me here. But while throwing
Don't
a
be
bottle of water
British.
might be a bad idea, spraying a bottle of water or another liquid can be a definite win if you're doing it right. Not
Oh,
only
hey,
making an
hey.
immediate visual difference in your opponent, but also making them stickier for all subsequent attacks. Milk, water, juice, all of them are readily available in a typical cafeteria, and they can travel far provided that you know what you're doing. Well, it might be tempting to yeet those milk cartons and juice boxes hoping they're gonna pop like a water balloon. Odds are that's not gonna happen. Structurally,
Not
those
really.
paper containers are glued too tightly for that. Instead, if you can just get your hands on anything with a spray tip, like those Gatorade bottles with the twist cap, that is gonna be your best
Aye.
option. Or even better, you can give yourself a makeshift super soaker by taking a trusty pen from your backpack and poking a hole in the
Jab,
cap
jab,
of
jab,
the
jab,
water
jab.
bottle. Just give it a good squeeze, and suddenly you have a Dasani delivery service that'll douse the field. So, how effective would a MacGyvered super soaker be in this sort of scenario? Well,
This is
Oh,
Sadie. She's
Hold
like,
on, folks. We'll be right back. And we're back.
let's compare it to an actual super soaker. According to CNET's best water guns for 2023, the Temi Super Blaster water guns have a similar capacity to an average 500 milliliter bottle of water that you find in most vending machines. They conducted an
okay.
experiment that tested soak factor, or capacity divided by empty time. Essentially, how quickly you can expel all the liquid from the container onto someone else. The Temi's 500 milliliters of water was pumped out in roughly 2 seconds and traveled a whopping 32 feet. But again, remember,
Not
that's
bad.
a well-designed water gun that has an air pump meant to expel the water further. In our testing of makeshift water bottle soakers, we were able to squeeze the water out in the same amount of time and get half the distance. 16 feet, or just under half the length of the cafeteria. Not too shabby. In short, a
Not
water
bad at
bottle
all.
should be your first choice of offense as soon as the fight breaks out. You can run to the back wall while spraying people in short range, priming them for all the food you're about to pummel them with. That said, your best case scenario is going to be if you have a plastic bottle of chocolate milk. That way, you can start your opponents off cold, wet, and brown. As far as sodas go, my hope was that their high sugar content and explosive carbonation could create some quick and sticky chaos, but alas, the caps are much thicker and harder to poke through when it comes to the plastic bottles, and while shaking and
Damn.
tossing a can seemed like it could be a winning scenario, more often than not, you wound up with a dud where you got more on yourself than the opponent. Meaning, if I want to win this food fight, I'm gonna have to leave the Diet Coke behind. By the way, this
sorry,
is just a
Diet
question for
Coke.
the comments, but does your school allow sodas? Because I know mine didn't for
Mine
a really
did.
long time. Let me know
Diet
down in the comments.
sodas.
I'm curious where it sits these days. Alright, enough about drinks. Let's
Yeah, my school allowed sodas, but they were only the diet or sugar-free kind. They weren't half bad. They were bad, but they just weren't half bad.
move on to the main course. What actual foods would be best in a food fight? Let's place ourselves in the crocs of a child when the food fight erupts. What traits should we be considering for our potential projectile? First things first, we need to prioritize throwability. If you've ever been in a snowball fight and you had the misfortune of using loose powdery snow, then you know that structural integrity is gonna make us or
Damn.
break us here.
Ow.
We need to find foods that, when thrown, actually make it all the way to the target. Well, you may be able to get a nice handful of spaghetti or mac and cheese. When thrown, there's gonna be a a wide berth of sauce and cheese flying everywhere. Basically, those guys are like the shotgun of food fighting. Widespread, high damage, but short range. So what cafeteria
see
food
that.
should we be reaching for if we want to maximize throwability? The obvious answer to me, and to America's Diner Denny's, is the good old mashed potato. And for the
Oh,
gravy on
yeah.
top, make a little hole in the center and pour some gravy in. Close that hole up and bam! Exploding mashed tater ball. And the odds are in
Ooh,
your favor that
sounds
mashed potatoes are
tasty.
going to be around. Looking across a wide smattering of school lunch menus, on average, the humble mashed tater is offered as a side dish at least every week and a half. Assuming it's not a mashed potato day, though, other foods that would serve a very similar function in the heat of battle would include gobs of meatloaf, bread or rolls that were dipped in water, cups of pudding,
Oh.
and wadded up pizza balls.
Rule number 2, find food, preferably pizza. Pizza balls.
Now, it's one thing to
Okay,
make a good
that's
splat
interesting.
with your food fighting, but if you want the damage to really set in, well, that's when you need to start focusing on the stains setting in. So what's going to provide us some launchability while also creating some of the most stubborn stains to get out? Well, at the top of the stubborn stain list is blood, not great, and poop, which isn't served in
Also
school
not great.
cafeterias, I hope. But you know what notoriously awful stain can be easily found in the cafeteria?
Ketchup.
Oh yeah. That red paste that turns even the driest of meatloafs edible will now make your victory taste that much better. You see, ketchup is usually made out of
tangy.
3 main ingredients, the first of which is tomato sauce. Now, tomato sauce is usually rich in tannins, a naturally occurring substance derived in the roots, fruit, bark, and wood of some foods like coffee, tea, or in this case, tomato. Historically, tannins have been used in the creation of dyes because of how well they bind to fabrics, so it's no
Ooh.
wonder that ketchup stains are among some of the most stubborn. The other 2 ingredients in ketchup, vinegar and sugar, help the red dye set in deeper by weakening the fabric and leaving visible marks if not treated correctly. This 1-2 combo means that you're going to be needing more than a Tide-to-Go pen to get this one out. Don't waste it all on a squeeze. Instead, load that ketchup onto some chicken nuggets.
Did someone say nugget? Nugget loves
Nugget.
the nuggets. The crispy, tender, golden perfection.
That way we can coat our nugs
Nuggets
in
are
ketchupy
good.
goodness and launch them clear across the cafeteria. Their size gives you good launchability, and their number gives you a good rapid fire option. Another high stain route to go here, blueberries. A blueberry's high sugar
Ooh.
content can cause deep stains, especially the longer they're left on the clothing. Blueberries also get their color from the compound anthocyanin, which is one of the chemicals that we use to dye fabrics. So much like tannins,
Okay.
it makes sense that this stuff is going to set into the clothing very well. One other bonus to everything
Yeah.
we've talked about so far is that they all offer more than 1 round of ammunition. Multiple blueberries, repeated sprays of water, rounds of ketchup-soaked nuggets soaring through the air. That combo will supply us with more than enough firepower to last us until the teachers break up the fight. That said, we should also probably
boy.
grab ourselves a breakfast item just in case it's an early day food fight. And what breakfast item can be easily launched, creates a nice satisfying splat, and has the bonus effect of making your classmates smell like they're 70 years old? Let's
Pancakes.
recruit Mr. Quaker Oats himself, oatmeal.
Oh.
Whether you want to grab globs by the hand or use your spoon
Okay, I wasn't expecting oatmeal to make it onto the list. I literally wasn't. Then again, I don't eat oatmeal, so no experience.
for precision striking, oatmeal is going to be your best breakfast option. And just like that, I think our meal's complete. As a side bonus, while constructing the perfect balance of firepower and staining, we also happen to build a lunch that meets the USDA's National School Lunch Program standard for a
Oh.
balanced meal, hitting all
Oh,
5
yeah.
major food categories. We got our fruits in the form of blueberries, potatoes count as a veggie, somehow. We got our dairy fill with chocolate milk, our whole grains through our oatmeal, and even meaty, nuggety goodness. We are getting the
Yum.
recommended balance of foods that'll help us grow big and strong, and then we're gonna use that bigness and strongness to become the food fight champion. Oh, sure, on the surface we look like any ordinary lunch goer, but hidden in our food choices are the right pieces that'll get us prepared in case we have to defend our honor against a culinary crusade, a
Hell
delicious
yeah.
dogfight, a cafeteria conflict. Just do me a favor and don't start the food fight yourself. That right there, that's a one-way ticket to the principal's office. Seriously, it
He's
is
right.
not worth it. Just know that when the time comes, you will be there, armed with this video and knowledge that'll let you dominate. But hey,
Yes.
that's just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit.
And folks, that's where we're going to end off today's episode. I hope you all have enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link will be in the description, and I'll see all you folks next time when we flick on. Peace out.